The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
The Chofetz Chaim writes a gewaldige eitz of how a person could get schus. Chaim writes, I experienced a Maisa Neura, an awesome Maisa. Now the Maisa, the Chofetz Chaim writes, transpired with a Chacham, but he was the Chacham. They don't want to say he was the Chacham, it transpired with a Chacham. What happened? There was a man that had children, and every one of them died. And he came before the Chacham, and he asked him to give him an Eitzah and a Segula for this matter. The Chacham answered him, I don't know any Segulas. But my Eitzah to you is to undertake to make a free loan fund in your city. Maybe Hashem will grant you in the schus of the midah of chesed that you will conduct yourself with people. Hashem will conduct himself with you b'midas chesed and give you children. You have to know that whenever you do chesed, you generate in Shamayim lights, ring, ding-a-ling, all kind of iris of chesed start to be generated. And then that chesed comes down to the world. And it comes through you. First address the chesed stop is by you. So if you do chesed, you bring chesed to yourself. No. So the fellow went back to his town. He accepted the eitzah of the Talmud Chacham. And he worked in this matter a lot. Until he established a permanent loan fund, a free loan fund in his, maybe Hashem will help. And he was mekabel upon himself to be Isaac in this mitzvah, to lend out money, but he took mashkaitis. He wanted to have a guarantee that he was going to get paid back. Today they use guarantors, a raven. This fellow took mashkaitis. No, he made a page with a list of takonis for this matter. That's the norm. What are the rules of the Gemach? And amongst the takonis he wrote that once in 3 years, when they come to the parsha that says im kesef talva, parsha that talks about lending money to your fellow Jew, he's going to make a get-together and they're going to make a suda to be machazik this mitzvah. No, at the end of 3 years, it was born to him a son. No, and to show that it was the schus of the mitzvah, the milah turned out on the day of their little dinner for this occasion. Clear sign from Hashem. No, the person continued working in this mitzvah for a number of years, and he had to put a lot of exertion into it. And over the years, a number of children were born to him. But over time, he forgot the kindness of Hashem, and he came back to the Chacham, and he told the Chacham that since it's taking up a lot of his time, and he can't deal with this anymore, the Gemach is getting bigger, and then he hears people complaining that he's benefiting from it. He's not being fair, he's not being this, he's not being that. So, he would like to appoint another fellow to be in charge of the Gemach. And the Chacham told him, no, forget about it. And he said to him, nobody else is going to be as dedicated to this Gemach like you. Well, it's your baby. Another couple years went by, and the guy kept on imploring the Chofetz Chaim to let him quit. No. So the Chofetz Chaim said, okay, listen, what can I do? I can't force you. And they appointed another guy in his stead. They had a vote. They chose somebody. The voting took place in the beginning of the evening. The next day, that fellow came to the Chofetz Chaim, and he related to him that in his home, a terrible tragedy transpired last night. His youngest child choked in his sleep, and he left the world. He got the message, and he took back achrayus of the gemach. What was the Chofetz Chaim telling him? Chofetz Chaim was telling him, take on the schus. A gemach is never an easy thing. Of course, today people have gemachs jokes. I was once in a large yeshiva, and I needed a gemach. I needed $500. And in the coach room of that yeshiva, there was a list of maybe 40 gemachs. I figured 40 gemachs. I'm going to get $50. I'm going to get $500 in 1 second. I go to the first guy. He said, no. I only lend out $25. $25. That's not even money. Even when I was getting married, it wasn't money. It was like, $25 used to be $1,000. No, it was never $1,000. I told the guy, listen, I'm getting married in a few weeks. You could trust me. I'm going to have the money for my marriage. $500 every guy makes when he gets married. I need to have expenses for my wedding. My parents weren't in town. They were in the mountains. I had no access to them. I was out of state, and I needed to get the money. And I went down the list. I was shocked. One guy said $50. Perhaps one guy said $75. But I remember the money was, I said, Rabbi Shalom, I'm a Kabbalah myself. I'm going to have a gemach. No, I needed $700. I'm sorry. $700 what I needed. And after tremendous, one guy told me, why don't you go to 15 gemachs and get $15 for each one, and you'll owe it. The whole town, the whole city money. And that's nuts. Is that what Hashem meant when he said, Kesef Tal V'Sami? It's an imach. And then I got married. And then I came to Telz. And I put a sign up on the board. When a person gets married, he gets a few dollars. It's the first time the average guy comes into some money. The average bacher doesn't have money. Once he has money, his parents give him allowance. Once he has money. And he gets what you call it. So I'm only have a lucky guy whose grandparents give him $1,000, maybe $5,000. Yeah, you're so excited. You finally have a shtickle. You shtickle balabos, you're baldover, you have a shtickle money in your pocket. And you can't wait to run to the bank with your wife. And you sit there, you're opening your accounts, and you're putting your money in. It's like, God, it's a massive, you're starting to feel like a real balabos here. And in those days, they were paying good interest. Good interest. Remember I said, how much can I make a year if I put the money away? I didn't make that much. Maybe I made $5,000 total. But I decided I made a Kabbalah. I'm putting up a sign. The yeshiva, to any chasanim who need money, come to me. You have a gemach here, funds. On that day, 2 people came to me. Each one wanted to borrow $700. I said, Hashem, thank you. Thank you very much. But not sending me something for $25. It was a test. And since then, whenever I see somebody struggling with children, I had a sibling of mine who recently reminded me, who had a very hard time having children. And it was a tough struggle. She was sad, she was crying, it was not pushing. And I wanted to do something for her. So I called her up on the phone. I said, my dear sibling, I would like to help you with your problem. I'm giving you your first $1,000. I want you to open up a gemach in your city. And they did. And from that time on, they began to plop kids. I recently visited her. She told me, you should know, I still run that gemach. I still have the gemach. And I tell everybody, that gemach, my brother gave me money for the gemach, and I've given it to many people since then. I had a couple I met in Lakewood from Eretz Yisrael, and this girl was 40 years old, and she was crying eyeballs out. She came from a very famous family. And I told them, open up a gemach. She was so depressed. Gemach was the last thing that was on her mind. She got married late, and it wasn't easy for her. And it was just a very depressing matter. I said, why don't you open gemach? I don't have the money. I said, okay, I'm sending you your first donation. Open the gemach up. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. Ulai yibanami mena. Ulai. And lo and behold, a couple of years went by. And one day they called me. You know who I am? The man asked me, you know who I am? I said, sure I know you. I remember you. We met in Lakewood. He said, I'm going to tell you, it paid off. We had a son. I said, you're kidding. You had a son? I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy for your wife. It's a shame. You should have more kids. The point is, you got to do chesed. But, you give a chesed, you put some candies out in the shul, or you buy a box of tissues for the beis medrash, and you think you're going to start having a boatload of kids because in one box of tissues, it ain't happening, my friends. Even if you buy 2 boxes of tissues. You got to do a chesed that has in it some extreme schus. You can't imagine how doing chesed with exertion, in an extreme manner, brings a person all types of chesed from Hashem. People want parnasa. Help somebody else get parnasa. Help somebody else. Help others. Recently, a young lady called me up, and she desperate for a shidduch. I told her, do extreme chesed. She said, what should I do? You have an idea? I said, I have an idea. I said, I want you to undertake to marry off a poor kala. How can I do that? See, now you're going to do that. You're going to raise money. You're going to go out and you're going to become a fundraiser. So what does that tell me right first thing? It's not my type. It's not my thing. I don't know who. I don't know how. I didn't say it's easy, but it's an extreme chesed. For somebody you don't know to go out and native to help her get married. You don't think Hashem's going to help you get married? She said, I'll see. I didn't think she was going to do it. And she called me yesterday. She said, I undertook to do a chesed. I said, really? And it's done? She said, yeah, it's done. I said, how much did you make? She said, I raised $16,000. I said, whoa, that's amazing. Younger, you raised $16,000. Did you go online, have them make a GoFundMe page? No. I made phone calls and I reached out to people. I said, my friend, I hope you feel now batuach. You should feel this chuz to help somebody. It's going to be amazing for you. In Shemayim, I said, is it from a Torah mishpacha? She said, I'm not sure. Could you find out? She said, sure. She called me back. Yes, it was a Yisroel that was adopted by a family in Kiryat Sefer, Torah mishpacha. Wow. I said, your chuz is immense. And I've seen this untold number of times. This is what a person does to invest in chus. I once told a person who was in the mid-40s, who was making me crazy, they wanted kids. I said, I wish I could produce them. I don't have that machine yet. I said, Hashem, that key, Hashem, the Gemara says Hashem didn't give out the key of having babies, kept it in his own hands. So, he's not giving me the keys. But I said, extreme chesed. And then what happened was, this lady has a very meticulous house. She's very scrupulous about her home. One day she gets a call from a relative who has to be in the city where she's from because their relative has got cancer and is struggling, battling the hospital, and they need to be in that city to go visit and take care of their relative. So could you put us up? Husband, a wife, a child. Yes, no, yes. The person said, I don't think so. I mess up the house, having a little kid running around the house. I said, do the chesed. Do the chesed. Avraham Avinu in the Torah tells us, did an extreme chesed, super chesed. And that was the final clincher that gave him kids. So the lady said, okay, take him out. Took him in the house. And the kid was running around. The lady said, no, you got to go in the room, you got to lock yourself in this tiny little bedroom. And at least it's not in a tunnel, but it's in a little apartment. And you lock yourself in the room and don't come out of the room. That's like saying to you, get out of my house. So the person said, finally, but you got to leave. It's not for me. I can't handle it. And the person went and asked a Rabbi, said, did I do the wrong thing? No, you didn't do the wrong thing. You do what you want. I told the lady, you asked me what to do to have Hashem bring you a child. You want to know something? I daven for you. I said to Hashem, send her an extreme chesed so that she can overcome that test and it'll unlock. Now, I didn't know at that stage of the game, that lady was already able to have children. I think Gemara Torah says by Sarah, she didn't have an oirach kanoshim anymore. I didn't know that. But afterwards, this person told me that when he accepted to do this chesed, suddenly the mayanos, the well springs, started flowing again. Could you imagine that? For when the person was makabel, started flowing, 2 months later, this chesed opportunity came, failed it, bam. Shut-offs. That is. Oh my goodness gracious. Hashem opened the windows for you. Hashem opened the Rubay's Hashemayim. People have that opportunity. And over another lady couple didn't have kids for 14 years. 14 years. It was Gehenna. Gehenna. She used to call me every single month and curse me out, rank me out, you liar. You make up stories. You tell people bluff. You told me I'm going to have kids and I never had kids. And what are you lying to people? Oh, I'm sorry. I hope you meichel me. I was trying to create hope for you and tikva. Because if you have, it says Kavel Hashem, Chazak v'yamitz tibecha v'kavel Hashem. But I knew that phone call was coming. I used to steel myself. Wife asked me, why do you answer it? I said, that's part of doing a taiva for her, to let her blast me off. And also I do a favor for her husband, who was a Talmud of mine, so he shouldn't have to suffer so much. I realized afterwards it was a little not normal, her reaction, you know what I mean? I told the husband, there was a doctor, I said, maybe you can get me something pill to give your husband, wife, make her a nice coffee in the morning, throw something in there. And, let's relax her, because it's crazy. He said, am I allowed to do that? I said, of course you're allowed to do that. The taiva for her, taiva for the world. You have to do it. What's your silent? He was afraid. What if she finds out? She said, it can't be worse than it is. Right? So what's the big deal? And then, after 14 years, she had a wild opportunity of chesed. Somebody came to the city and said, I want to stay in your house for a week with an entourage of Hasidim, the Rabbi with his wife, his kids, and a whole bunch of Hasidim. They're taking over the house. It was a frum man, this Rabbi. He kashers the house for Pesach before he eats in the house. He brings his own kelim. He doesn't use anything of yours. Not a glass, not a pot, not a nothing. And I told her that's an extreme chesed. He's a chashuv man, this Rebbe. You do a chesed with so many people, it's an extreme chesed. They said to her, you could stay in the house if you want. We don't care if you stay. Just you can't cook in your house. This week, whatever you want, we serve you. You want water, we serve you. You want coffee, we make tea, whatever you want. Just say what you want to eat for supper, for lunch, you're getting served. And it happened one year. First year, after the third day, the lady burst. The damn bird, she said, get out of my house. She said, these not humans. They stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning, they bang the doors, they come in, they come out. I said, chesed. They're doing their thing. People are coming to see the Rebbe. They want to get a bracha from him. They have to come late. I don't know why, but the next year they asked her again. She called me up and said, what should I do? I said, take it. But this time don't fail. Don't fail the test. Pass the test. And she did. And from that year, she started having children. The first child was born. And she said, can I get another one? I said, why not? Same place this came from, you can get 2. And Baruch Hashem, very nice family. Rabbi say, whenever you need something and you daven to Hashem, try davening, it helps. Bitachon works. But to mechazik your bitachon, you undertake a chesed, some extreme schus, big schus. And you do that, you don't quit it. You see Hashem's, what kind of zikr it is? This young girl. She's not an old girl, she's a young girl. She's 21, 22, she's mamish nothing. Could you imagine she should have a schus to be married off a girly assignment? To build someone's house from scratch? I can't get over that. I can't wrap my head around that schus. You expect big organizations, big this, big that, big Vera maybe. This? Wow. Let us hope that we can take care of Hashem's children. An opportunity arises, and that will be a schus for us and maybe we'll be Zoicha for Hashem's great assistance.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org